What I'm going to do here is to use some masking fluid, as we've looked at in previous tutorials, and I'm going to blank out the blossom areas and indeed the tree trunk, because I know a lot of students have problems when they paint trees in actually getting the background behind the tree to go backwards so that it doesn't start getting mixed up with the foreground tree and all the branches, and in this case the blossom. What I'm going to try and do here is use 2 or 3 disposable items that, if they get ruined after we've used them, then it doesn't matter, you'd probably be throwing them away anyway. Here we've got a slither of mount card which has got a ragged edge on one end and a cut edge on the other end, so we can dip that in the mount fluid and get fairly specific areas. I'll probably use that for the tree trunk. Here we've got an ordinary cotton bud, so we've got 2 goes. We ruin that one, we can turn it over and try with the other side. And here's a piece of string which I've tied a couple of knots in, so we'll hold the string like that, dip the knots in the masking fluid and then try that, or we can dip the frayed edges in. Now we've started off with the cotton bud, and you can see I'm just stabbing that on. Okay, I've dipped the knotted string in there actually using the knot itself. Right, we're going to use the number 1 rigger and we're going to use the number 12 round brush for this. I mixed a couple of washes of colour. This is just pure ultramarine blue. We put a little bit of that for the sky in the top corner. This is burnt umber mixed with ultramarine blue and a touch of lemon yellow. This is going to give us a mix of the various colours in the middle distance trees, if you like, and that's lemon yellow, ultramarine blue and a little touch of raw sienna added here and there, and I'll bring those in and mix and match those colours I've got, and then in a few minutes we'll produce the pink blossom with various washes of permanent rose. Right, first thing first, I'm just going to paint over the background with a wash of clean water. Okay, now I'm just dabbing on. You can see what's happening right away. This is spreading and moving outwards all over the place. That's what happens when you flick the paint. You can see I'm making no attempt to be precise about these colours, just throwing a bit of ultramarine blue in here and a bit of neat burnt umber there. Now you can see what I'm doing is to use the side of an old palette knife, not the pointed edge, just the side there, and that helps to take out some branches in the background. Right, now I've just added some lemon yellow and a little bit of raw sienna to warm this foreground hedge up, and then just tapped in some stronger mix of burnt umber at the base, and you can see the way it's bled upwards. Now I don't normally do shadows on something before actually painting it, but in this case we might as well, and then we can get the nice wet in wet effect. And you can see how as well the paint, being still slightly damp, runs upwards and almost creates little flecks of grasses for you without even thinking about it. Sometimes watercolours are the most irritating medium that you could ever wish to meet, and sometimes it's the greatest friend that you ever have, that it'll almost paint the thing for you and stop you going off at an angle and doing the wrong thing, and it'll almost say, no, leave this to me, Bob, I'll sort this out, you just get on with something else, come back and take the credit afterwards. Now for the test, and with so much masking fluid on this paper, a little prayer to hope that it doesn't start ripping the paper as it comes off. Okay, I've mixed a very pale wash of permanent rose, nothing else, just the permanent rose, nice and watery. Now you can see just by stabbing on the paint you can get a whole variety of different shaped blobs. Now I've made a slightly stronger mix of permanent rose with less water, and you can see I'm just stabbing in the brush. Really it's so it opens the bristles more than anything. It gets a lot of paint on, but it opens the bristles again. Now you can see what's happening. I'm tending to put this stronger colour at what I see as the base of the clumps, or the left hand side, in other words the shadow side of the blossom. But there's nothing difficult in this, is there? you know, if you can stab a paintbrush into the paint like this, that paintbrush, those hairs are doing it all for you. This time I want to have the point reasonably sharp, because I just want to add in a few little hints of shadow here and there, and this is definitely going to be at the bottom of the clumps. If you overdo this, then have your paper towel ready and you can always blot out and no harm will be done. In fact, it might even improve things. Right, just mixed a little bit of grey slightly to the brown side. I've just used the burnt umber and the ultramarine blue, just added a touch of lemon yellow just to add a little bit of green to it, and paint over some of that blossom there because I want the branches to be seen more readily, or at least some of them anyway. I've just got clean water, just taking that out on the paper towel. I think we'll just add a little bit of darker colour here just to give a little bit of modelling to the trunk, so it's dark against that light there but not too dark. That dark there is light against that, but the same, almost the same strength is dark against light. And just bring in some of these branches here and there. Well, this is it. I'm just adding a few little bits of extra twigs and trees in the background. Really, these areas I've scraped out, just adding a bit of tonal contrast to them. Or if I'm really honest, I'm fiddling. The job's done now. You can see how easy it is to paint a cherry tree or to paint blossom using masking fluid, and at the same time you can also see that it's dead easy to just stab in some bits and pieces of colour here and there using the masking fluid and ending up with a lovely impression of something and nothing foliage behind the main tree, which not only doesn't get in the way of it but actually serves to enhance the whole impression. Springtime blossom.